Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, copyrights. I'll have more on that in just a moment. A copyright arises whenever any kind of creative work is fixed in a tangible medium of expression. So the moment that I record this video onto an SD card, it is copyrighted. Now, it isn't protected from exploitation until I register that copyright, but at the very least, it is a copyrighted work, and it's copyrighted because I created it, it's original, and as a result, it being fixed in a tangible medium of expression, copyright applies. Now, copyright is a course that would take a full semester in law school, and it has a number of interesting twists and turns throughout of it. What I will tell you about copyright is that it's not always easy to understand, but there are some simple rules that do apply. And it is always better to avoid running afoul of copyright by respecting it when it's appropriate. Let me give you an example. If you are someone who is writing a book on the Women's Memorial, the Vietnam Women's Memorial Project in Washington, D.C., and you take a picture of the sculpture that is the Vietnam Women's Memorial, and you put that on the front cover of your book, you're violating copyright. Now, you own the copyright of the picture, which means everything except the statue. Everything else in the photo is your creative work, but the statue is the sculptor's creative work, and he owns the copyright to that, or in this case, the person that he sold the rights to, in this case the Vietnam Memorial Women's Project, owns the rights to that statue and to the exploitation of that statue. So that if you use that video, or if you use that either in a video or you use that as a means to a commercial end, then there is a good chance you're going to get sued. Now, a lot of times people think, well, isn't that fair use? No. And let me explain why not. Because you're using the image, in that case the statue, for commercial gain. You're not using it for the uses that are specified in the statute regarding fair use. What are some of the things that qualify as fair use? Well, criticism, news reporting, comment, teaching, scholarship, all of these kinds of activities focus on something other than making money off of someone else's copyrighted work. So let me see if I can give a couple of examples that might explain this. And as those of you who've been watching know, I'm a ham radio operator, and one of the things that I do at night quite frequently is watch ham radio related videos. Now, a friend of mine, Mike, K8MRD, does videos at different parks, and recently he went up to a beach in Washington State and did a Parks on the Air activation. And in that Parks on the Air activation, he had some beautiful beach footage. Now, if I wanted to comment on the type of antenna that he used, or his radio operation, or on some other aspect of what he did, I could use small snippets of that activation on a channel for me and not run afoul of the copyright. But let's suppose that I wanted to do a video on why it was good to travel, and there were lots of different places to see, and I wanted to put some beach footage from the Northwest in there, and I used that same period of footage, maybe only 15 or 20 seconds of the beach footage. Would that qualify as fair use? And the answer is probably not, because the use there has absolutely nothing to do with commenting or news reporting or criticism. It has instead to me using a different video to pirate some video footage off for another purpose. So that's why in many cases, people who use the internet to download video or use the internet to download photographs do so at their own risk. I have a number of photographs published all over the place. And if somebody takes one of those and uses it for a commercial purpose, I'll probably be upset, but I'm probably not going to pursue them because it just wouldn't be worth my time. But there are law firms who do nothing but that. They represent people who are photographers and who take photographs of various interesting places, and then they use spiders, internet spiders, to crawl through the internet and find people using that for commercial gain. Not long ago, a professional organization of which I am not a member contacted me because someone did a presentation at one of their annual meetings, and they had a copyrighted image in their presentation, and to further the educational aims of that organization, they posted the video, or they posted the presentation on their website for a few days. And while it was on their website, this copyright troll firm picked it up and threatened to sue them. Now, educational purposes are one of the many reasons, teaching and scholarship, that you can use fair use. You can use an image in that setting, as long as you don't take all of the creative work or use it for commercial gain. But in that situation, if somebody files suit, even on a bad lawsuit, even on a suit that they are sure to lose under fair use, it is still going to cost up to $10,000 for an organization to defend it. So it's better just to stay away from that in the first place. So, for example, when I do anything on the internet and I use, for example, an image of a courtroom or an image of a police car, I download it from one of the many sources that are royalty free. And if I absolutely need a photograph of something or someone that is copyrighted, I buy the rights to it. And I do that because that way I know I am not going to get sued at some point in time. Now, some photographs, of course, are public domain. For example, booking photographs, mug shots. Those are public domain. They are published by the sheriff, and there's no expectation of copyright. Just because a newspaper organization picks it up and publishes that photograph doesn't give them the copyright to that photograph. So there are sometimes things that you can pick up in a way that you don't have to worry too much about the copyright. But still, it is not a good idea to take and use the content of other people. The reason that the public policy protects the use or the copywriting of useful material is that you want to further scholarship. You want to further the dissemination of information to the general public. And the way you do that is by giving people a profit motive to produce that kind of content. And that's why copyright is as it is. As a general rule, if you want to know whether or not something is fair use or not, you need to find a competent copyright lawyer, somebody who has that as a sizable portion of his practice or her practice. And you need to go to that person and say, if I use this image in this way, am I going to run afoul of copyright? And then do what they tell you. Nobody can do a video that says it's absolutely okay to use images under this circumstance, but it's not okay to use them under that circumstance. because the world doesn't work that way. There are too many variables that you can't always count on. So if you have doubt, it is absolutely vital that you seek a legal opinion before you do it. Another thing is for people who do produce creative works, particularly people who publish monthly newsletters. I'm thinking of certain organizations like Josh Noss's Ham Radio Crash Course on Patreon. They produce a monthly newsletter. If it contains information that's proprietary, it's a good idea to copyright that and register the copyright with the Registrar of Copyrights in Washington, D.C. Because if somebody pirates that information and uses it on their website, then you have a method to go and enforce your copyright against them. Again, I don't do a lot of copyright litigation. I've been involved in a couple of cases where those issues have come up. But that's not what I do 90% of my time. So this is just an area that I have some interest in, not somewhere where I practice a great deal. And as a result, it's not a good idea to rely on anything you heard in this video in terms of legal advice. I don't give legal advice here. I offer opinions on the law, but they are not intended to be legal advice, and they're not intended to be legal opinions. If you want a legal opinion from me or from any lawyer, you have to retain that lawyer and pay him a fee. And that's how legal work gets done in this country. It probably seems unfair, but that is indeed how the world works. I didn't write the rules, I just try and live by them. So, if you have any comments or questions, I would be happy for you to drop a comment down below. And if you haven't already, please go over here and subscribe to our channel. Tap on the notification bell so that you can be notified anytime we release a video here. I hope this has been informative and helpful, and I hope that you have a terrific day. I will catch you on here next time. Thanks.